Right, in this video we'll be looking at some selected problems from page 34 and 35. 7 through 13, 16 through 18 is the assignment. I'm going to begin by working problem number 7. Problem number 7 says we have 4 divided by x equals 15 over 23. Well, this assignment is going to help us with the previous notes or develop some ideas from the previous notes. Well, the previous notes talked about direct variation. Direct variation. A direct variation is a proportional relationship. Proportional relationship. And we saw in the previous video in proportional relationships, it's much like our linear relationship, y equals mx plus b, except in our direct variation, there will be no b term. The b term will be 0. It will simply be y equals some multiplier. We called it k in the previous video, and we've also called it m. It's a slope. Y equals mx, y equals kx, however we want to call it. In the case of the direct variation, the y-intercept is 0. So when we have a proportional relationship, one method that you've known for many years that we can solve this is a cross multiplication. We can multiply x times 5, and we'll call that 15x. X times 15, pardon me, 15x, and 4 times 23, that's 92. So we have 15x equals 92. We want to solve for x. We'll simply divide by 15 on both sides, dividing by 15 on the right and the left. So in this case, x would equal, using the calculator, 92 divide 15 yields, it returns 92 over 15. That is the most reduced fraction. Or we can hit Control Enter and find the decimal is 6.13 repeating. 92 over 15 will be the best answer in this case. Alright, in this fashion you can continue and do number 8. Now I'm going to go on to problem number 9. Number 9 says x and y form a proportional relationship. When x equals 13, y equals 5. Find x when y is 13. Well, there's a couple of ways we can go about this. We could set up our direct variation equation, that is y equals kx, and find the value of k, but I'll find it easier to treat it like we showed the example problem in the previous video. I'm going to start with my word fraction, in this case a variable fraction. I'm simply going to express y over x. Much like we consider slope to be the change in y divided by change in x, our constant of variation is y divided by x. So I'm going to simply divide y by x. It says my first pairing is 13, 5. So our first ordered pair is x13, y5. So y in this case is 5, x in this case is 13. I'm going to set that equal to, well, my second point is find x when y is 13. So the question is, what value of x will yield a y value of 13? Well, I know my y is 13. That's going to be my numerator. I'm looking for my denominator. I could say question mark, but here we're talking about an x value. I'm going to put x here. So y is 5 when x is 13. We want to know what value of x yields y for 13. So you can see in both cases I have y's up top, 5 and 13. And in both cases, I have x in the denominator, 13 in my unknown. So now I cross multiply. 5 times x is 5x. 13 times 13 is 169. So now I can divide by 5 on both sides. X equals 169 divide 5 is 33.8. When we say a direct variation, what we mean is there was one constant multiplier. I'm going to look at this as a table in this case. First, 13 goes to 5. Then 33.8 pairs with 13. What we're saying is there's one multiplier that gets from x to y, and in this case it looks like it's going to be some fraction less than 1. In this case, 5 over 13. If we multiply 5 over 13 times 13, we'll yield 5. Likewise, if we multiply that by 33.8, it would yield 13. The equation that will model this situation is y equals y divided by x, 5 over 13. If we type this function in, it would produce this table. This is my slope. It's also called the constant of variation. Or the constant of proportionality. Man, that slope is such a big concept. We have about untold number of terms for it. I can understand how it would be confusing to you. Alright. Let's do one more of these problems. I'm looking at problem number 11. Alright. Question sentence says, how many minutes would it take her to type an essay that contains 343 words? So in this problem, we're talking about words in minutes. I'm going to make my word fraction. This is much like the grandma and cookies problem. Words in minutes. Much like before, we started y over x. Here I'm starting words over minutes. This will just help me keep my two fractions straight that I set up in my proportion. It says Jane typed 98 words in 2 minutes. 98 words in 2 minutes. At this rate, how many minutes would it take her to type 343 words? Well, 343 is my word, so it will go in the numerator. And we're looking for how many minutes. I could put question mark, I could put X. In this case, I'm going to put M for minutes. 98 words, 2 minutes, 343 words, M minutes. And I think you can cross multiply and solve for M. We'll have 2 times 343 is 686, 98 M. Divide both sides by 98, and you should be able to successfully solve that. I'm going to skip down now and look at problem number 17. 17 and 18 are identical. It wants us to find the slope. It says, what is the slope of the line through points 4, 9, and 7, 21? Well, we have many ways we can find this. One way is our slope formula. M equals change in y divided by change in x. That is, subtract the y's in the numerator, subtract the x's in the denominator. So subtracting the y's, 21 minus 9, those are my y's. Since I subtracted 21 minus 9 in my numerator, I must do 7 minus 4 in my denominator. Well, 21 minus 9 is 12. 7 minus 4 is 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. My slope in this case is 4. We're going to attempt to use our TI Inspire calculator to find that same slope of 4 that we found by hand. So we will first go to New Document, 1, New Document. Save previous document, no. Now we're going to go to Lists and Spreadsheets, 4. This is where we enter in our X and Y values. This first column will be my X's. I have 4 and 7. The second column will be the Y's, 9 and 21. Now I need to label my columns as X and Y. Alright, now I want to insert the table, the data as previously. So I'll go Control I. 5 for data and statistics. Here's our points. We now need to label our axes X and Y. X, Y. And there's our 2 points. 4, 9. You can see 4 pairs with 9. 7 pairs with 21. Now we want to find the slope. We needed the equation of a line. We go Menu, 4 for Analyze, 6 for Regression. The process of finding this equation, a model to fit these points, is called regression. And then 1 show linear. There's our mx plus b form. There it is. Y equals 4x plus a negative 7. We see slope is the coefficient of x. Slope is 4. And that agrees to what we found by hand. In this case, probably the formula was quicker than using the calculator. Alright, with that information, see if you can work the rest of those problems.